Right. So, in the last session, we discussed about solution architecture from point of view, from the Java point of view. So, being into Java solution architecture when we are developing any kind of solutions and all. So, how this Java solution architect role will be played, and so what are the responsibilities? Like we discussed about configuration part. At the same time, we discussed about the different aspects of application development as far as the architecture itself is concerned, about the system design, technical evaluations, at the same time, performance optimization, followed by the kind of understanding over the enterprise architecture part. At the same time, knowing about the technical leadership, all that. And today I'm going to discuss about, because this is one of the major topic which I'm discussing with you. This is all about how we are transforming from business architecture to solution architecture, because when being into Java solution architecture role, we see, like, because you're all belongs to the technical side, right? So you're all well experienced for more than I could see more than 5, 6, and 8 years of experience, and I see some people were more than 10 even. But we are all belongs to the technical side, where we need to understand, we'll be knowing about how the solution, how the application development can be done from the logical point of view, right? So because you're all having experience from the coding perspective. But if we want to transition our career to the solution architect or an architect roles, it's always important for us to understand how the transition will be taken place. In reference to the transition of the architecture from business to solution, wherein majorly it assists in creating the technical vision for a specific solution to any kind of business problem and all, wherein by including the business architecture, at the same time solution architecture, architectural transition cycle, etc. In this regard, if you can see here, when it comes to the business architecture, majorly focusing on the first point you can see, right? So business analytical strategy is what something which normally any enterprise we will be having. Followed by this, we need to understand the capability map, because this is where we call it as capability into two different parts. So one is business capability, second is a technical capability. Business capability, to what extent in business wise this can be transformed. When it comes to the technical capability, in what way technically this application can be transformed from as is to be. Because as is an existing environment which we have, now you are assume that, for example, we are working on some legacy application to modern applications like migration projects, etc. So understanding about capability map, either it can be a business or technical capability map, is also one of the key and important element. Will be focused on the business architecture. Next, we need to understand the different business development cases what we have. What are the different business development cases do we have? So that will be taken into consideration. At the same time, what are the different projects to be handled, followed by the valuation guidelines? Because when we are evaluating any kind of business and all that, there are some guidelines which are to be identified and which are to be followed. So at the same time, valuation guidelines get followed by the target state. That's where sometime back I told you, right? So as is and to be. As is nothing but the existing environment what we have, to be nothing but the environment which we are about to develop, which we are about to transform. This is where generally we call it as target state, right? So wherein by imparting some business and technical skills, especially when we are working on migration projects and so on. So this sort of understanding will be always helpful to us. This is where generally we call it as business architecture is. From the business architecture, where we are moving towards solution architecture. This is a transition phase. Being a Java solution architect, one must understand, because as I stated, we are all belongs to logical side of understanding, thinking. But from the functional and business perspective is always helpful and important even, right? So wherein we need to identify and manage different prospects and all, being by implementing different techniques what are required and all that. At the same time, whatever the kind of creation in context to the designing of the product, followed by the planning. At the same time, followed by that, we need to deliver the products and services. These are the major core areas where we are driving towards solution architecture, because any customer solution you are developing from the technical perspective, not only functional perspective, give you a clear understanding over the business architecture part. But when it comes to the solution architecture, we need to understand from non-functional requirements as well. So these are based on 4 parameters. One is about the managing prospects. How well are we managing it effectively? Second, what are the techniques we have used? What are the selection of techniques were used by us? At the same time, creation of design products and as well as planning, etc., followed by delivering products and services. These are the 4 areas which we have to be focused towards solution architecture part. Now, when we are moving towards solution architecture, we need to understand about the contextual of the logical ability, because logical implementation or logical conclusion is what something which we have to provide. So that is the ultimate reason behind why we are moving towards solution architecture. So it's a contextual as well as logical conclusion is what something which we have to be given by understanding the value decisions, because valuation guidelines will be taken from the business architecture that must be closed with value decisions what we have taken that should be giving a business value end of the day. Because if the solution is not given any kind of business value, then there is no point in working on it. So value decisions is also one of the key and important element one to be focused on. Next, we need to reason the views and perspectives. Whatever the required reasons and perspectives should be taken into consideration. Next, we need to update the target state, wherein by understanding about the business skills, technical skills, all that. So for that, of course, as I stated you, because we are from Java solution architecture perspective, we can use some Java all for all remaining applications and all. But whereas when we are going for data analysis and data related projects and all, some people go for Python even, right? So Python solution architects, they can call this, but our focus is more on the Java solution architecture part. So this is what generally an understanding being a Java solution architect, one should understand. So the transition phase from business architect to solution architect, what are the different phases do we have? So micro level understanding about what are the different phases do we have, that I'll be discussing in the coming session. Okay, because this is in high level understanding I'm giving the detailed how the step procedures. That's where generally you being a Java solution architect, you have to involve and you need to learn practically. That is what something which I'm going to discuss in the coming sessions, right? So this is where generally business architecture to solution architecture is what something which normally one should understand being a Java solution architect. Okay, so how this can be implemented and what are the steps to be involved? There are micro level understanding over the steps transforming from a journey from business architect to solution architect will be there, Java solution architect, that we discuss in the next session. Okay, there are many points to be discussed more, so that I am discussing in the next session. Okay, right. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.